Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today, I'm going to be explaining a movie named Wednesday. The protagonist of the show is a peculiar girl named Wednesday Addams. Despite being only 13, the little girl barely shows any emotions and has a weird obsession to death. She's also infamous for wearing black and white gothic clothes, which everyone finds strange. In the first scene, Wednesday arrives at her high school with a creepy look on her face. Inside her locker, she finds her brother, Pugsley, bound with an apple in his mouth. As she shoves him out, suddenly Wednesday has a vision, whereas she sees her brother, who is being tortured. Here, we get to know that she's not a normal child. Wednesday has the ability to see someone's past as well as future by just touching them. Once she finds out that the group of bullies from the swim team are behind this, she walks into the swimming room with 2 bags full of piranhas. Then she casually unleashes the bloodthirsty piranhas in the pool. As the bullies run for their lives in horror, Wednesday makes it clear that nobody picks on her brother except her. Cut to the next scene, we're introduced to Wednesday's parents, Morticia and Gomez. The two are fed up with their daughter's shenanigans and have decided to send her to the prestigious Nevermore Academy. It turns out that all students in this academy have supernatural abilities, and they are taught lessons on how to control it. Morticia and Gomez are also alumni of the same academy, which indicates that they too have superpowers. Meanwhile, a hiker embarks on the solo journey through the woods near the Nevermore Academy. Unfortunately, just after a few minutes, an unknown creature attacks him and finishes him off. The local sheriff finds the mutilated body later and begins surveying the area. Surprisingly, we learn that the grisly murder isn't first of its kind. There has been numerous similar incidents as of late. Next, Wednesday Addams arrives at the academy and meets Principal Larissa Weems, who seamlessly runs Nevermore. She introduces her to her roommate, Enid, a werewolf who's the polar opposite of Wednesday in every way imaginable. Enid is a down-to-earth girl with vibrant colored recreations in her room, while Wednesday loves all things black and goth. Later, Enid gives Wednesday a grand tour of the academy while pointing out main school groups: Fangs, Furs, Stoners, and Scales. Fangs are vampires, Furs are werewolves, Stoners are gargons with snakes on their heads, and Scales as sirens, who have the ability to manipulate people. And it also shows her the most popular girl in the school, Bianca Barclay, a gorgeous siren, and her ex-boyfriend, Xavier, a death artist who can transform his drawings into reality. Meanwhile, as the Addams family departs in their car, Gomez releases a thing, a chopped-off living hand. The thing is tasked with keeping watch over their daughter. The following day, Wednesday joins fencing class, where she is pitted against the impressive Bianca. After a bit of back and forth, the girls end up with equal points, so they decide to remove their masks and fight until somebody draws blood first. Soon enough, a brutal battle erupts, with both of them matching each other stride for stride. However, at the end, Bianca ultimately emerges victorious when she slashes a small cut on Wednesday's cheek. Later, as Wednesday exits the infirmary after getting patched up, she's almost crushed to death by a falling stone gargoyle. Luckily, the death artist, Xanvier, arrives just in time and pushes her out of the way. Shortly after, Wednesday returns to her room, but she suspects that someone is watching her. Hence, she searches the room and eventually finds the hand thing. Realizing that it's her parents' doing, Wednesday threatens the hand to be loyal to her, or else she will lock him up into a drawer. Terrified, the thing vows to be faithful. Due to Wednesday's piranha prank, she has to take mandatory therapy lessons. So Principal Larissa drives her to the therapy session in Jericho, a small town outside of Nevermore. She meets her therapist, but doesn't open up about anything. Instead, Wednesday has another idea in her mind. She excuses herself to the restroom and escapes through the window. Once outside, she accidentally stumbles into a man. Suddenly, she sees a vision, where she witnesses the man's death. Terrified, Wednesday goes to a nearby coffee shop. There, she encounters the sheriff's son, Tyler, who is also a barista. Tyler is experiencing some mechanical difficulties with his espresso machine. The directions are in Italian, but thankfully, Wednesday can read Italian. She fixes the device effortlessly and in return asks for a lift to the nearby bus stop. But before Tyler can reply, suddenly a trio of bullies wearing pilgrim costumes arrive to the store and taunt her. Wednesday tries ignoring them, but she can't take it any longer. She fights back and easily smacks them down. After a while, Principal Larissa arrives at the store with the sheriff and notices the carnage. Enraged, she berates Wednesday before driving her away from the town. On their way to the academy, they pass a terrible car wreck. The victim is the same man who Wednesday saw in her vision earlier. Later at night, she plays a haunting song in her cello in a dorm balcony. It's a full moon night and several werewolves are being heard. However, Enid, who is a werewolf herself, reveals that she's not joining them because she cannot transform herself. Meanwhile, Thing pops by Tyler's room and asks him to call Wednesday. Although terrified, he obliges, and the two start radio chatting. Wednesday asks Tyler to meet her at the harvest fair the following day, claiming that it would be fun. However, in reality, she just wants to escape the academy. While at the fair, we see Larissa watching over Wednesday like a hawk. Despite this, the goth teenager, however, manages to catch up with Tyler. The two almost escape the place, but just then, Wednesday stumbles into one of her classmates, Rowan. He immediately runs into the woods, and since Wednesday touched him, she has a vision. Rowan has been brutally mauled to death by someone. Terrified, she has a change of heart and goes after him to impart the news. But before she can say anything, Rowan uses her telekinesis ability and secures her up on a high tree. He then reveals that his mother, a powerful seer, envisioned Wednesday destroying the Nevermore Academy 25 years ago. Hence, Rowan believes that he has to kill her before anything bad happens. He then starts choking her telekinetically, but suddenly a massive monster leaps in, tears Rowan apart, and vanishes into the air. Wednesday stands over his mutilated body and sees the illustration his mother supposed. Soon after, police officers led by Sheriff begin looking for Rowan's body, but unable to find it. As expected, the sheriff does not believe Wednesday's statement about a monster attacking Rowan and thinks that it's a Nevermore student. An officer disrupts their conversation and surprisingly we see Rowan, who is very much alive. When Wednesday arrived at her room, she notices her roommate Enid is too preoccupied by the Po Cup competition, an annual boat riding game. Later, she tries talking to Rowan, but Principal Larissa informs her that she has been expelled for a reason she can't share. As a result, Wednesday reverts to Plan B and asks Thing to keep an eye on Rowan. The scene then cuts to Rowan, who has arrived at the train station, with Thing closely following him. After observing the surroundings, he covertly heads to the restroom and changes his appearance into that of an old man. Unfortunately, Thing loses track of him and misses his transformation. Later, the old man changes to Principal Larissa. This reveals that she's actually a shapeshifter, and for some reason, she's covering up Rowan's murder. Left with no options, Wednesday ventures into the woods to look for Rowan's murder clues. She's accompanied by Tyler, who is stalking his dad. After a while, she finds Rowan's glasses and she picks them up. She has a vision. In the vision, she sees a purple book from which Rowan got the drawing. Wasting no time, Wednesday confronts her class teacher about the book, and the latter reveals that it belonged to an old student society called the Nightshades. However, the society has been long disbanded. After school, Wednesday sneaks into Rowan's room to look for the book. She finds a mask underneath his bed, but before she can leave, Zanweer arrives. It turns out that he's Rowan's roommate. Wednesday quickly hides under the bed, and right then, Bianca also arrives to visit her ex. She overhears their conversation and learns that Bianca is planning to crush Enid in the upcoming boat riding competition. Hence, as soon as she returns to her room, Wednesday decides to help Enid by joining the competition so that they can take Bianca down. The next day, Wednesday and Enid gear up for the competition. As there are no rules, it is an all-fair game, and Bianca is using this to her advantage. There are 4 teams, and the game is that they have to row their boat to the destination and be back. Whoever is the first one to arrive at the finish line without being knocked out by the lake is declared the winner. As the contest begins, Bianca hints at one of her friends, who is ready to sabotage the other boats. The friend, who turns out to be a mermaid, dives into the lake and destroyed one of the boats, knocking the team out. Thankfully, Wednesday and Enid are prepared, so with the help of the Thing, they manage to capture the mermaid. However, during the contest, Wednesday has another vision. This time, she has a blonde-hair version of herself, and the vision tells her that she is Key. Confused, Wednesday snaps into reality, only to find that Bianca's team is leading the race. Unwilling to give up, she and Enid decide to play dirty. They use Bianca's underhand methods against her and finally win the competition. With this, a non-siren team has won the esteemed competition for the first time in 4 decades. Later, the winning team is honored by Principal Larissa, who hands Enid the Po Cup trophy. However, Wednesday is unable to withstand the attention, so she finds solace with Edgar, a former student of the Nevermore Academy. Suddenly, she sees a symbol underneath the stone book he's holding. It is the same symbol that was carved into the picture Rowan had handed her before he died. Wednesday quickly solves a series of riddles etched in the book and finds a clue, that is, snapping twice. When she snaps twice, suddenly a secret corridor opens, revealing a hidden chamber. There, Wednesday successfully finds Rowan's book, from which he had torn the picture. She puts the book into her backpack, but before she can go further, someone thrusts a black sack over her head. Shortly after, when the sack is taken off, she finds herself surrounded by Bianca, Zanweer, and a few more students, who are members of the Nightshades Club. Turns out, although the group was previously disbanded, Principal Larissa reinstated it secretly. Zanweer urges Wednesday to join the group, but she straight away refuses and walks away. In the next scene, we see Principal Larissa announcing the annual outreach, where the Nevermore students will have to mingle with normal people, also known as normies, by walking alongside them. Once they arrive in town, Wednesday tells Zanweer that his roommate might have been murdered. The latter doesn't think Rowan is dead because he was only expelled. Despite this, Wednesday shows him the picture Rowan's mother drew. Zanweer takes a closer look at it and reveals that the man in the picture is actually the founder of Jericho, Joseph Crackstone. A while later, Wednesday decides to volunteer in the Pilgrim World, the place that holds Jericho's history. There, she meets Eugene, a young boy she had befriended in the beekeeping club. The two immediately get to talking. They start observing the surroundings. Soon, the students are approached by Miss Arlene, the caretaker of the Pilgrim World. She gives them a tour and talks about Joseph Crackstone's beloved artifacts. Wednesday asks more about the artifacts and learns that they have original farm tools, tableware, and even the family chamber pot. She wants to work there but can't because it is being renovated. Instead, they're all going to work with the old forgery to distribute fudge and cakes to the local tourists. Later, Wednesday, with the assistance of Eugene, sneaks into the Crackstone family chamber. She finds a painting of the old meeting house, which includes the girl from her vision. Shortly after, she also finds the book which the girl was carrying. However, when Wednesday notices that the pages are blank, she suspects it is fake. Just then, the caretaker, Arlene, arrives and catches her. Wednesday talks about the original book, and Arlene hesitatingly reveals that it was stolen last month. Later, Tyler and Wednesday reunite at the coffee shop. The latter inquires about Joseph Crackstone, and Tyler reveals that what is left is the original meeting house in outside the wood. It is pretty much a ruin, and meth heads use the place as a crash pad. Immediately, Wednesday and the Thing enters the wood in search of Joseph Crackstone's place. They eventually find it and come across a homeless man, but Thing chokes him and scares him away. Suddenly, Wednesday experiences a vision. This time, she travels 400 years into the past. We see a blonde girl she encountered in the earlier vision. There are villagers who are encircling the girl, and they call her a devil's spawn. Soon, Joseph Crackstone arrives from the crowd and calls her Wednesday Addams. He accuses her of being a witch and condemns her to die in a barn stuffed with other folks. In turn, Goody also accuses them of stealing their land, slaughtering the innocent, and robbing them in their peaceful spirit. Enraged, Joseph stares at her for a while and sets the barn ablaze. Goody tries to free her mom, but all her efforts go in vain. At last, when there is no hope left, she escapes via a trapdoor. Meanwhile, Wednesday observes all of this in the barn with them. Goody soon runs up to her and claims that Joseph won't cease his crusade until he's killed them all. With this revelation, Wednesday wakes up from her lengthy vision and explains everything to Thing. Suddenly, they see the same monster that killed Rowan lurking behind him. Wednesday runs after it in the rain but can't keep up. Hence, she follows the footprints, which strangely start transforming into humans. This reveals that the monster is actually a human. Right then, she runs into Zanweer and tells him what she saw. She wants to look at the tracks, but the rain has already washed them away. The following day, everyone reunites in a town square for the unveiling of a new statue dedicated to Joseph Crackstone. Wednesday plays an instrumental version of Fleetwood Mac's Don't Stop with the Jericho marching band while the mayor and Larissa announce the statue. However, disaster ensues when Thing, as per Wednesday's orders, sets the statue in flame. While others run away in horror, Wednesday's eyes gleam with vengeance as she swiftly plays the cello. Later, Principal Larissa tears into Wednesday, suspecting that she has caused the incident. However, the teenager refuses to have done anything and instead confronts Larissa for refusing to acknowledge the bloody, racist truth on which Jericho was founded. That night, the homeless man from earlier is attacked by the monster and his camera begins taking pictures of the incident. Moments later, the sheriff and his crew arrive at the forest ruins and find the homeless man dead. They discover footage on his camera and may reveal the culprit's face. After developing the photos, the sheriff looks upon the face of the killer, a monster born from nightmares. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. If you did, like and subscribe for more. And thanks for watching.